We didn't take any votes in executive session, we just had, okay. There were no votes taken in executive session. Do you have any correspondence?
Is there any correspondence? There's no correspondence, but
No.
right to address them.
Yeah, okay, we have no correspondence. We'll have comments on item 6 to 11. There's none? None? Okay.
Ready?
Superintendent.
Good evening. I'd like to invite Mr. Goho and his team from North Providence High School to talk about their blended learning program that's been implemented at the high school.
Thank you, Chairman Marciano, Superintendent Smith, members of the school committee. So as you are all aware, over the last several years, the school committee has made a significant investment in the schools in terms of upgrading our technology infrastructure, equipment, personnel, and resources. Last summer, that investment was directed at the high school. And it's not very often that the school committee gets to see the fruits of its labor. So we wanted to make you aware of the many uses that the technology infrastructure has been used to upgrade teaching and learning and enhance assessment and create 21st century applied learning, problem solving, and engaging classrooms. So what we did was we filmed the technology that you authorized as it was in use throughout the entire school year. And we also want to particularly highlight at the end of this video one initiative that has us really excited, which is the blended learning and flipped classroom model that was implemented on a pilot basis last year in English by Lisa Passanelli and in mathematics by Julie Cook, and then expanded this year to the other core areas. So at this time, we'll show you the video so you can see the many ways that the technology has enhanced teaching and learning at the high school. flipped classroom in those disciplines last year, and are playing a key role in helping us to expand it to other core areas this year. Ms. Passanelli and Ms. Cook.
So I found with the flipped classroom that I could engage the students more. I found that I could do exercises. At the end, you saw the graphing exercise that they did. And what I had two pre-calculus classes. One was flipped and one was not. The pre-calculus that had the flipped class, they made it through. They could see a large screen of the graph. They could run through a number of the graphs quickly, and they got through the whole assignment. We had time to discuss and make sure that everyone understood everything. My second classroom used the graphing calculators, which you know is a very small screen, and every single time you change to a different function, you have to change windows, which makes me putting out a lot of fires and stuff like that. They got through half of the lesson as compared to the people that had the computers in the class and working with them. They have a lot of exciting websites out there. I find that there was an ease of presentation of my lessons where I could pull things up. I could have students go to the Google Classroom, pull things up, and also I could send out like exit slips through it, and then they could respond through the forms, and I could get things without a stack of papers, which is very nice. So I'm very enthused about it.
To jump off from there, as an English teacher, I definitely want to second the not having the stack of papers thing. The being able to go paperless in my classroom was really helpful. Using Google Classroom was incredibly helpful as well to help students turn things in. The software creates the assignment for them, and then the student just clicks a button and hands it in. Nothing gets lost. Everything is saved in Google Drive, and it helps keep our students a lot more organized. As Julie said, my students were incredibly engaged. Quiet students who may not raise their hands and participate in a class discussion can do so on a Padlet and can post virtual Post-its to a picture. They can be involved with the group and be pointing things out without necessarily having the entire room hearing them speak. On the video, you saw some of the work that my freshmen did last year with the Odyssey. By the end of that unit, they created their own website, and they were digital portfolios of all of the work they created. I had students creating Powtoons, study videos, creating memes, illustrations, doing things that I just would never believe that that I could come up with. I certainly believe that they could always do it. So it made an incredible difference in my students, and the work they gave me just showed me how much more I could do with the technology. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for your presentation. Any questions, anyone? Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I need to thank Lisa and Julie. They are our pioneers. Lisa has opened up her classroom to the district to be a lighthouse classroom, so other people can come in and see her actually using the technology. But we do need to say a special thank you to the school committee and for our technology committee, which Gina does serve on as well, for putting together a plan and a vision for integrating technology into our instruction. Thank you.
Okay. Melinda?
So the next item on the agenda is about the strategic plan. It seems like it just happened yesterday, but we put together our strategic plan the first fall that I was here in 2014. Our strategic plan expires this year. I want to bring your attention to the members of the school committee that we are going to revise the strategic plan. We're going to start that work in January. As we go through the different goals, we have met a lot of the plans that we put in place almost 4 years ago, and we do need to revise this plan so that we can have a vision for the next 4 years. So I'm going to be asking administrators, teachers, and community members, along with parents and students, to help us put together a new plan to move our district forward. So I just want to bring that to your attention, and that will be coming up probably after the first of the year.
Thank you, Superintendent Smith. Chris Jones?
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to provide you with a brief update. Last year when we started school, we started with roughly 656 special education students. At the end of the year, we finished with roughly 730. To start this school year, we're at 671, so we're up 15 from that of last year. So we want to be proactive. Last year, we were also contracting out providing service with a multi-sensory reading approach. We now have 2 certified Wilson teachers in district to provide this service. The issue is that they would be leaving their school and traveling to another school to provide this service. So we're looking to add an additional resource teacher to our staff. And John did pull a fiscal impact statement, and we do have the funds to do so. Any questions?
Any questions of Chris?
And we're trying to be proactive. We know that we're up 15 students. We're looking at their service delivery, and we want to make sure that we have all those services covered, but we also want to make sure we meet the needs of our students who need that multisensory Wilson program. And it's nice that we did get 2 folks trained. Contracting out was a total waste of money at that point. So now we have 2 people trained, and we're looking to use grant funding to get some additional folks trained. Our goal is to have someone trained in every building.
Any questions of Chris, anyone? What's Chris? Thank you. Okay.
Just quick question.
Rod,
I'm sorry. Who does the training?
Wilson themselves.
Okay.
okay, next item, Melissa?
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the financial report as submitted.
Motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by?
Ronnie.
Ron Iannetta. Discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item?
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the homeschool requests as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Mr. Andriozzi. Discussion, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? There are 6 votes in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. Motion passes. Next.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the field trip requests as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Andriozzi, I think, and seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the removal of textbooks from inventory as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Andriozzi, seconded by Mr. De Silva. Discussion? All those in favor?
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the equal opportunity and non-discrimination policy as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Andriozzi, I believe, seconded by Mrs. Picard. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item?
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the special education data coordinator job description as submitted.
Motion? Yes.
It's a union position.
We need a motion.
Just want to,
Motion by Mr. De Silva,
second.
seconded by Ms. Picard. Discussion?
So it's current, so we have 2 current support staff individuals in the special education office, and so what Mr. Jones has proposed is that we delineate duties and separate them, one handling simply data, and the other being the secretary to the director of special education. It is a confidential position, but it's been in the 1033 union since I've come.
Ms. Picard, do you have a question?
I just want to make it clear that we're voting on the new posting with letter number C that goes to meet one or more of the criteria, just as a point of clarification.
Right. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the special education secretary job description as submitted.
Motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Ms. Picard. Discussion.
Same point of clarification that, letter C be the new, verbiage that includes the more, qualified for more, one or more, and, the new language.
Correct.
Okay. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the bids as submitted, and I'm going to ask Mr. McNamee to speak to that bid.
We have one bid for the replacement of the boilers at Ritchie Middle School. The boiler was condemned by the plumbing inspector for the town. We have submitted for shovel-ready funds from the governor under the new program, and we haven't heard yet on that, but we will be able to use some existing housing aid funds that we do have available in the event that that money doesn't come through. The bid is just slightly under 150, but we should be receiving some additional National Grid rebates to bring that cost down. I'm not exactly sure what that number is right now, but we're hoping to be in that $25,000 range anyway, so. We actually only had one bidder we advertised that we do have one bidder, but that was the number that we were looking at in terms of the total bid for that project.
Excuse me, John.
Question?
When we have one bidder, do we re-advertise for another bid, or just let it go at that?
No, we pretty much negotiated with, did some, Jim had gone and looked at some other quotes in terms of replacing those boilers, so we believe that it's in line. We knew what that number was going to be before we put it out for bid anyway. So.
Okay.
Well, this is going to be out of housing aid, so this will be with, out of the capital reserve funds. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Just one small question.
Yes, Rod.
I assume it's natural gas fuel and not oil.
Yeah, that's all we have is natural gas in the schools.
You don't have any more oil boilers anywhere? Any of our schools?
No.
That's good.
I haven't seen any oil bed around lately.
Even though oil's cheap, I think gas is better.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the resignations as submitted.
Motion by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the retirements as. And the retirement is for Rosalind DeQuattro. She was a teacher assistant at Centerdale School, and we wish her well in her retirement.
Okay, we need a motion by. Okay, a motion by Rod Silva, seconded by Mr. Iannetta and the entire committee. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the leave of absences as submitted.
Okay.
Second?
Mr. Donald Cataldi, seconded by Gina Picard. All right, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
We don't have any layoffs this evening. Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the appointments as submitted, and they are Michelle Lewandowski, science teacher at Birchwood for 1 year only, Acne Steinwich, ELL teacher at North Providence High School, 1 year only, Robert Bello, wrestling coach, Birchwoods, Diane Simmons, grade K teacher at McGuire, Deanna Brooks, library media specialist at Greystone, 1 year only, Victoria Calavita, personal assistant at McGuire, 1 year only, and Lori Baytek, assistant detention officer at Birchwood.
Okay, we need a motion.
Motion made.
Motion by Mr. De Silva, seconded by Mr. De Cataldi. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted. Any of those people here this evening that we mentioned for appointment? No? Okay. I guess they're very excited about it.
They had already started.
Okay, next item.
We don't have any displacements this evening. The next one is, be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote and to approve the HES Community Health Worker job description as submitted. And just to remind everyone that this is one of the healthcare workers for the HES grant. It's 15 hours a week. It's only from now until April. That's a grant-funded position and limited.
Okay, motion by Mr. Iannetta, seconded by Mr. Andriozzi. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item.
Be it re-
What are we talking about? Lost my train of thought now. Oh, the appointments. How are we approving appointments a month after they're already, like, in use? Why don't we do this in August? I don't like approving somebody that's already been working for a month. It
Well-
makes us, it diminishes what we do as a school committee.
And I agree with you, Mr. Palmieri. The problem was that we got some late leave of absences, and we had to scramble to fill those positions, or there weren't going to be teachers in those places.
I understand, but, if we have to get in for a special meeting, then we do it at 8 o'clock. But I still think it should be approved before they go into the,
Okay,
I mean, they're not approved, so they're working. What if something, like, happens?
I agree, and we'll follow that protocol moving forward.
Next item.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the VETS 2016-2017 rental contract as submitted.
Moved by Mrs. Picard, seconded by Mr. Iannetta. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next on the agenda is request to address committee, after-school program and sports facility. Mr. Marrera, is he here? Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the committee, Superintendent Smith. My name is William Marrera, and I graduated from North Providence High School 2010. And the reason why I'm here today is I'm working on a sports complex for the students, and I'm asking for the support. I'm not asking for any funding. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to get every school board in Rhode Island to fund, to support my organization. And reason why is the organization I'm trying to consist is I want all the students to have a B+ average, so that the parents don't have to pay for the sports complex. Now, if the students maintain a B+ average, everything's free for them. Obviously, people like myself that are going to use the sports complex on a regular basis, our payments take care of that. Now, as you can see, I placed a couple of forms on your table for you to see. Now, only cons that there is obviously the money and time. The pros is that I've actually done research with students, and a lot of students need this information. They need a facility so they can have time, so that they're not out doing anything that's wrong. As you know, a student from North Providence High School was in an altercation this over summer, and a parent was shot and killed, as well as the student was went to jail and has a critical condition. If there was a facility that they wouldn't have to, do this type of thing, so there's no problem. So, reason why I'm here is I just want to get the support of the school committee, so I can move on to the next state, to my next city, and get everyone on board.
Okay, we just got this, and does anyone have any questions of this gentleman?
No, sir. I'm in the process. I'm working on it, actually. But there's no facility. And what I'm working on is I'm trying to get every school committee on board so that I can go to the state as well as my investors to get on point. Yes, Johnston, right, BJ's. There's on Hartford Ave. There's a lot of land on there for sale, so I'm working on that as well. This is the first committee. I went to...
We're a test case, in other words.
I'm sorry?
I said we're a test case.
Yes, because I graduated here, so I thought maybe I should start here.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to sort of take this under advisement because the committee would have to take a look at it.
Mhm.
We just got it.
Of course.
And then we would either take some action on it at some point. Okay, yes?
So what's the, how much?
No, I'm just looking for support, meaning the support for the organization contest. The organization was The students have to maintain a B plus average. If they don't maintain a B plus average,
Right.
then the parents have to pay for the sports complex. Sports complex obviously is going to be it's going to be 24 hours. That's why it's going to be regulated for everyone.
Complex.
The complex I have investors as well, the state funding.
Okay.
Mr. Cataldi.
I'm sorry. As you can see on page 2, it says roughly the estimate amount. Organization is my organization, WHAM Enterprises. WHAM Enterprises. WHAM Enterprises.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, you're
Yes, sir.
looking for a letter of support
Yes.
from this school committee,
Mhm.
and that would go towards, the school committee recognizes the benefits, and we fully endorse this, but we're not, at this time, you're not asking, nor are we offering any financial,
Yes.
okay.
Just asking for the support.
So, can we do that?
Well, in order for me, I would like to just say, this is like a bullet of list.
Right, yeah.
I would like to see if we can
We need a little time, I think.
a detailed plan of what we're going to move forward.
Of course.
With, this is just a big picture, but for example, you have
That's why I
24-hour accessibility. You know, so you said, for example, you're looking at Johnson, how does the job, I would actually think it should be the first school committee, because if that's where the location is, because to open up a center 24 hours, there's going to be something that's going to affect their community at large.
I understand that completely.
And there's things like that, I'd like to see fleshed out.
Oh, definitely. Reason why I just brought I only gave you a proposal just a little
Yeah.
bit, just because I
We're
don't
going
wanna
to
get into
take it
detail.
under advisement,
Of course.
and then we'll look at it and we'll act on it, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. A residency appeal, A. Malave. Is that person here? Or- Yep.
Hi, my name is Eileen Malave. This is my daughter Amanda Solano. Sorry. Basically, what we're trying to do is appeal. I just moved September 10th to 1 street over into the Providence District. She's been staying in, she's been coming to North Providence High School for the last 2 years. This is her 10th grade here. Unfortunately, like 4 years ago, she's been uprooted numerous times for health reasons on my behalf. Not to go into big pictures, I've had battle cancer for this is my 4th year battling cancer. I just hate to keep having her move. I've lost my job and reapplied for my job, so I've got less hours. My son, who's 20 years old, came to live with me, so I had to move out of my 2-bedroom house apartment to move to a 3-bedroom apartment for him to come help me as I raise 2 other kids. What I'm basically petitioning is for Amanda Solano to remain this year in the 10th grade, not to keep uprooting her. She's never missed a day of school, only once last year, and came late once due to my health reason, not on her own behalf. She's well liked with the faculty and school district, her peers. She's active in lacrosse and soccer.
I'm in many clubs
Go ahead.
in the school. I'm a good student. I maintain at least a B average. I haven't really had stability in my past schools until I've come to North Providence, and I feel more comfortable here. And for me to move,
It's going to be another hardship on our behalf. So what I'm basically pleading is if we could just keep her here 1 more year. I am trying to look, I just moved to this apartment. I was just talking to my son this morning, trying to keep her uprooted. To keep uprooting her, it's hard on me. And I don't know where I'm going to be in a couple of years from now. But I'm probably trying to look for an apartment in North Providence again. The only reason why we moved there was the closest thing near the school district. We're not utilizing the school buses. I bring her to school. She walks home because I work late hours just to make money. Otherwise, that's all we're asking for. We don't get free lunches from you. She pays for her lunches. All we're utilizing is your school district. It's been a beneficial to her. She's kept a beautiful grade average. She's been in North Providence schools 2 years in a row, from 7th grade this year, 8.
sorry.
8, but I'm sorry, I'm settling. But basically what I'm doing is asking for a hardship time just for my daughter Amanda. If it wasn't for her, I would uproot her, but just because she has stability and she made friends this year and she had friends last year, I hate to see her move back to a district that she's never been to. Prior to that, she's always been in private school because I was able to afford it, but health-wise, I can't keep affording it.
Excuse me, have you been advised that she can at least stay until January anyway, without doing anything?
Yes, but
yeah.
I would like to at least try to finish out
The
my
year?
sophomore
Yeah.
year, or at least try to
It's
stay
not,
in the
I am
school
in the
system.
process of trying to look. Me and my son was just
Okay.
talking. It's just hard that I just moved in here and I signed myself into,
There's no way you can move back into North Providence? It's an
I don't
apartment.
have any family here. All I have
I mean,
is
it's an apartment, you just can't.
I
you can-
signed a lease, unfortunately not.
Yeah, but, you know, if,
Well-
you may be able to, get out of the lease
Yeah,
for a
I'm
hardship.
in the middle. I just talked to my son this morning. He's the one who helps me with things. Like I said, I went from 40 hours losing my job. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, to make a long story short, my son had came home for a visit because he wasn't living with me. This is me and my daughter. And they found me in a pool of blood. I coded. So going through it all over again, it's kind of hard, and I'm just trying to keep them together as a parent. I'm tired of moving my kids separately.
I don't blame you, I certainly,
I'm a
parent.
yeah,
So,
I know that.
so if she stays till her end of her year, what are you gonna do next year? I mean,
I have called because I didn't know if you will allow her to stay. I'm trying to look for North Providence. I've also called Classical to see if she can go there because that's one of her other goals, but they're not.
State law says that you have to the end of the first semester.
Okay.
I understand, and I can sympathize, but this is tax year.
No, I understand.
And I know you said you don't, you just like to say, but by.
I know by
it would
law, and
look- It would look,
I know.
irresponsible for us to use other, to North Providence tax
No,
dollars.
and I understand. No, I understand.
So you haven't, February, she has until the end of the first semester, it looks like you're looking for housing in North Providence.
Right.
In order to attend, and we're glad that you're happy here and you want all our kids, but you don't live in.
No, and like I said, I'm just over the border, unfortunately, and I didn't realize when we got the apartment.
even if,
But you still have time, because the state law gives till the end of the first semester.
I mean,
Excuse me, I know a few realtors that may be able to help you find a place in North Providence, and maybe you can get out of that lease.
if you even find a place and you're going to be moving and it's not gonna be till February or March, I mean, we could extend that, but you have to really be living here.
Right, I understand.
And I'd like her to be able to stay through her
Right, and
senior
me too,
year.
right.
So the answer is to move back into North Providence,
Right,
which I thought you bought the house,
No, we didn't buy the house.
but then the apartment shouldn't be a problem. I'm sure the realtor,
What he's saying is, okay, January 15th, if you can come here and say, gee, I'm gonna be moving February 15th, here's my lease papers, we'll look at it.
No,
I mean,
Okay, that's
we'll
what's fair.
give you some time.
I mean, January 15th is your date,
That's
but
okay.
there's, you can, I mean, you gotta move.
I think the more she gets involved in the school, and if she's here for another year, you're gonna want another next year, so
No, no, no.
the answer is to move.
Right,
Why don't you keep us posted as to what's going on,
okay.
and then any way we can help, we'll help.
No, I understand that. No, I know, and if I could afford a tuition, she would remain in private school. Unfortunately, like I said,
Because we're also helping come up with the taxpayers.
no, I understand, and like I said, I lived in North Providence for 3 years until just recently, so that's the only thing, so.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Time.
No, it's okay,
you-
and
You willing to?
any way we can help, we'll try
If
to
I
help.
can find a place,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, we can help you find, I mean, I can personally help you find a place if you want.
Credit and reference, that's what it boils down to when I look for a lot of places they ask for that. Right now I'm in that situation.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
help.
That's
with
not
it.
a problem, as long as you're willing to move back,
Yeah, we are,
okay?
okay.
Okay, thank you very much, thank you. Okay, next item, let's see, Mr. Andriozzi, funding of school sports. Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, this is revolving around the tennis team. One afternoon, I was shopping at Shaw's Market. I was walking in, and the girls' tennis team was collecting funds for uniforms. And I was a little apprehended or taken aback by the fact that they were out there. I attend every meeting, and I was saying to myself, I don't remember that they came before us to ask for permission to do such fundraising. And as a member of the policy committee, I know that we put forth a policy that specifically stated that any fundraising activities were to come in front of the school committee. So with that being said, I contacted Superintendent Smith, and she did some research, and she found that the procedure that was put in place was not followed. And I have a little problem with that, because if it continues, we're going to have, rogue teams or rogue people out there collecting. They may not even be North Providence sports teams out collecting funds. So I have an issue with that. My second issue was the purpose of the fundraising, which was for uniforms. And I found that to be appalling, that they were out collecting funds for a necessity to play the sport, uniforms. So I looked over the budget and I see that we give $62,900 for supplies for sporting teams. And I said to myself, why do they not have uniforms? It is a necessity to play the sport. So we did some research, and we found that the answer that was given to us was that they requested special uniforms. So we asked around, and apparently they did not request special uniforms. They were told if they wanted a specific uniform, they would have to pay. They were never offered a uniform, is basically what it was come down to. So, with that being said, I would like someone to answer both questions for me. A, how did the fundraising activity get through the cracks? And B, why are they collecting funds for uniforms that are supposed to be supplied by this body, by this school committee, by this school? If someone could answer those two questions for me, I'd be extremely happy tonight.
Anyone willing to answer those questions? Yes, a couple of people. All right. Anybody? Come on.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Jerry Rubino. I'm the girls' tennis coach. I've been the girls' tennis coach here since 1991. From 1991 till about 2001, we did have our own uniforms provided by North Providence High School. Before the 2002 season, as we do every year, we collected the uniforms, we passed them back out. The uniforms, the girls took one look at the uniforms, not to be gross by any stretch of the imagination, but they noticed that the armpits were all stained from sweat. Very, very gross. It was disgusting. Girls turned around to me and said, "Coach, I'm not wearing that." So what do we do at that point? So the girls decided that they wanted to buy their own individual uniforms with their names and year of graduation on them that they keep.
If I may interrupt you for 1 second, Mr. Rubino.
Sure.
The answer to that question should have been, in 2002, I will first go to the principal of the school, and I will ask if I could be funded for new uniforms through the athletic department. And if there was a lack of funds in the athletic department, they should have come to the present sitting school committee at that time and asked for the funds, instead of going out upon themselves and collecting the funds. That should have been the proper procedure. And it was noted that that procedure was not taken. You just said it. You did it on your own. And I find that, so you started something that should have never been started in the first place.
Right, but up until this year, we never raised money. Girls paid for those on their own.
I have a problem with that. If somebody can't afford to buy a uniform, they can't play tennis. I mean, we should be paying for the uniforms.
Well,
Bottom
at that point, Mr. Palmieri, they knew they had the option.
There's 27 kids on the team. You're telling me all 27 kids can afford to buy uniforms? I just, you're in a public school system. We play a sport. We should be supplying the uniforms. Now,
This is not a pay to play. They don't pay to play.
Basketball. This is girls basketball. I'm sure there's stains under their armpits too. We don't buy we don't let them buy their own uniforms. I'm sure there's all sports that have stains under their armpits. That would never have been a thing for me. I just don't want to see these kids out there hustling money to buy uniforms.
But we've never, like I said, we've never hustled money before. And Michaela will
Want them-
explain
That's even worse if they're buying it
what happened
themselves.
this year. But at that point, at 2002, I went to the then athletic director, Anthony Carbone, and he told me, he said, basically you have two options. He says, we can use the uniforms that we have, or we can, if they want, they can certainly get their own individual ones. And they could, and the girls unanimously at that point agreed to do that.
I understand
And it's
why
been going,
you did it.
like I said, and that's been the policy. They buy it once, they have it for 4 years, they have their name, they have their year of graduation, and you know what? Girls' fashions change every 4 or 5 years. The styles change. They just said this is probably the one they have now is probably the fourth different style that we've had since 2002. But we've never, ever, ever, ever fundraised for uniforms. And I know the policy. I'm aware of the policy, and Michaela can probably take it from here on what happened as far as this year.
Hi, I'm Michaela Fornaro, one of the co-captains of the high school tennis team. So basically, I sat down with Impact Apparel, who provided us our uniforms. They screen printed everything, embroidered everything for us. But when I was going through catalogs and I was looking at shirts, I found this one that I really liked. I sent it to a number of other seniors on the team this year, and I said, look, do you guys like this? Because we're going to be the graduating class. Is this what you're going to want to wear? I got a unanimous yes from every single girl, which is pretty rare. Then we started to put every design that we wanted on the shirt. The owner of Impact said to me, this is going to cost you $45. So the shirt alone was going to be more than we wanted to pay for the entire uniform. We had been paying $40 for our original uniforms, the ones that I wore as a freshman, sophomore, and junior, and this shirt was going to cost more than those. So it was going to be $65 for the shirt and the skirt, which is $25 more than we wanted to pay. I tried to find a way to make it more cost effective for our players because $65 is a lot to pay, especially if you grow out of it, or it just gets to the point where you can't use it anymore because it is so deteriorated. So my idea was fundraising because I've seen a lot of other sports teams, not from the high school, but a lot of other, private travel sports teams fundraise. I figured, why shouldn't we do it? I didn't know that there was a procedure to follow, so that is how it slipped through the cracks.
Michaela, what you did was fantastic. I applaud you for taking the bull by the horn.
Thank you.
Where the problem lies is simply this. This committee allots money to the high school for sports.
Mm-hmm.
Part of your sporting event or part of your sporting equipment is a uniform. That uniform is paid for through this committee. We give the money to the athletic department to buy you uniforms. You should have, or someone should have offered you a uniform at no cost to you. And that's where the issue lies. It's not what you did and not how you did it. It's the fact that the uniform should be supplied to you through the school committee, department, and high school. That's where the problem is, and I want to know why, since 2002, I'm hearing now that we've been out searching for money to buy these uniforms. Why are we not funding it?
Steve,
That's my problem.
At best, if you're replacing uniforms every 4 years, as has been said, which I don't think you're changing uniforms every 4 years, but if you are, and you said the uniforms are $45, and there's 20-something kids on the team, I mean, there's got to be $1,200 that's being spent every 4 years. Why isn't the school department allowing these girls $300 a year towards the expense of the uniforms? I mean, for 15 years, they've never, the tennis team has never given these girls anything. They have to buy their own uniforms. I just think that's not right. It's not right. They should be paying. We should be paying for their uniforms.
Well, the school did buy shirts and skirts probably, I don't know, 8-9 years ago, and we did give those to our JV kids, but the varsity plays for some. I mean, fashion is a big part of. You hate to say it, but of girls in high school tennis, it's a big part of it. And they didn't, to be quite honest with you, they didn't really care for the uniforms that they had, and they chose on. They didn't. There wasn't one person that objected to buying.
It's a public school system, and I just have a bad taste in my mouth with asking kids to pay for their own uniforms. Some kids can't afford it.
My concern would be,
Right.
I mean, let's face it, we don't wanna have to put that burden on our parents. Things are not getting any cheaper. And God bless those who can afford it, but I don't wanna put any of our sports teams in a place where they feel like if they say they can't afford it, it would look, like a handout in a way. And many of us will contribute to that, but I know it's tough to be in high school as it is, and let alone say that I could not afford my own uniform. So we really have to be thoughtful about, so for example, if you wanna do a warm-up with your name on it, that's another way to go. And I know some coaches will say, well, hey, this is what I have to do, but I do think these uniforms should be universal. I think we should be picking up that cost. I don't think any of our sports teams should have to pay for their uniforms to be able to play. And I would hate to see that if anybody's not joining a tennis team because they felt like they could not afford the uniform.
No,
We don't know what's happening. I just wanna make sure that that's not the reason.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, and luckily, like I said, our numbers have been through the roof the last 5-6 years. We've had 30-plus girls year after year after year after year. But like, I just want to be clear what happened this year. Obviously, I'm well aware of the procedure. As fundraise. Usually, what's happened in the past is the first week of the season, it's usually around August 20th. We'll take any girls that wants to buy their uniform. We take an order. I go down to the local store, to Elmwood or to Courts. I lay out the money. They reimburse me. This year, in the summer, I guess Michaela, and she'll tell you, they took it upon themselves to do it themselves. And the day I found out about it was that Monday after they did the canning, and I immediately called Glenn Williams and told him what happened. But by then it was too late. I must take some responsibility for not conveying the procedure and the policy of fundraising to the girls. I just never thought that would, they would go and do that. But I totally understand your point. But the reason why this got started 15 years ago, to be quite honest with you, the girls didn't like the uniforms that were there, and they chose, on their own, they wanted individualized ones that they could keep year after year. And that's how, and it's just been going on since then.
If I may, though, if they wanted a specific uniform 15 years ago, 14 years ago, however many years ago it's been, they should have requested that to the athletic department. And then the athletic department probably should have made, or I know they should have made a request if they didn't have the funds to the school committee that was sitting at the time. Okay, last year you came in front of us, 2 years ago I believe it was, where your tennis courts were a mess. We did everything in our power to get them fixed for you because we saw the importance of it. We want to show that we're here for the sports. I don't like walking into a market where I know people and there's kids collecting to have uniforms, the most basic apparel needed to play the sport. We can't provide it, or it looks as though we're not providing, whether we can't or however you want to word it. It bothers me. So I feel that at some point in time, there's been a change in athletic directors. Someone should have contacted the athletic director and said, listen, fashion matters. This is the style we need, and can we afford it? And if he said no, then maybe you could have came in front of this body. You came in front of the body a year ago, 2 years ago, to ask that we help fix the tennis courts. So you know the procedure to come in front of us to ask for something. And that's where, again, there's a disconnect again. And I'm not blaming the girls for collecting money. That is not what I'm saying. They took the initiative. They did what they thought was correct. I applaud them for that. I have a problem with they should have never got to that point. They should have never had to do that. They should have never had to ask for it. It should have been provided to them.
Response? Mr., did you have a response? No?
No, I'm,
Okay, all right.
That's fine.
Rod?
So the young ladies don't like the uniforms, so is there an opportunity for them to augment, fundraise for some additional funds, as long as the school committee's aware of it? My point being, we need to raise an extra $20 per kid. We're gonna do a car wash, tennis team car wash. We're gonna do a raffle. We're gonna maybe parlay with a cross-country team and raise some funds or something like that.
The point is they want to keep the uniforms.
Well, that's fine. I'm just looking for a compromise that gives the girls a little autonomy and their individuality, and then it will
they should be allocated some of the money.
No, I'm not saying we should. I'm trying to give the young ladies
I
an opportunity to.
Yeah, I think what we're saying here is that we should be paying for the uniforms. Isn't that what we're saying? All right, we
I
should have
didn't think
had
I
him.
was done yet.
I just don't, oh, I'm sorry. I just don't want the baseball team to come in next and say, hey, we want our own uniforms, we're gonna start. Now, all of a sudden, now every team's out there fundraising for uniforms, and we look like the laughing stock of the state. I just don't want that.
So in summary, we should be paying forms, right? That's what we're saying, right? Okay. All right.
My point is, we allocate a certain amount of money for the uniforms. It's not acceptable to the young ladies because it's not fashionably, and that we need to raise an extra $200. Are we going to allow them to do that? That would be my question. If they came here with a proposal,
I think what he's saying, what Mr. Angiolzi is saying, I think, and I don't want to speak for him, he's quite capable of speaking for himself. I think what he's saying is go through the process. And basically,
so my question
we
is,
would be paying for the uniform.
so my question, the process is to come here and request the opportunity to do some additional fundraising, whatever they want.
The process, I think, Mr. De Silva, is simply this. They go to the athletic department and say, we need uniforms. And if the athletic director says, I can allocate $50 a uniform, and Mr. Rubino says, well, geez, the ones that the girls want are $65, well, then they have to come in front of this committee and say, listen, we need an additional $15 per times 30 kids. This is what we need to get the uniforms that are required.
I think that summarizes it very well.
Basically, we should be, in a nutshell, there's a process in place, and we should be paying, period.
Okay?
Anyone else? Anyone else? No? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Andriozzi, you're up again.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. So I have a question about the enrollment numbers. Just quickly, I was looking them over, and if give me 1 second, I have to. So last year, we finished the school year with a grand total of 3,784 children.
Including out of district.
Including out of district. But the grand total said 3,784. The same day we received an email that said the projection was 3,414. Then we received another projection that said in July that we would have a grand total of 3,473. Then we received another, I believe, more accurate amount, and which was September of this year, September 16th to be exact, of a number of 3,762. And then last week we received another number that said 3,836. So my question is, from the original projection, it's 420 different. There's a difference of 420 children. How are we off by that much?
Well, so it's a moving target. We have kids coming and going. I had Lisa Valella do an analysis, and at the end of school last year till today, 275 students withdrew from North Providence. We registered another 236 students. In addition, we had the kindergarten registration, which was over 200. So every day, the comings and goings of students, those numbers fluctuate from day to day. There was a big drop because we had over 40 students in 1 week actually disenroll, and we didn't get that information until a week later from Providence and Johnston. So those numbers usually stabilize by October 1st. We have a report that's going in Monday to the state. Our registrations have slowed down. I only signed one in this week. I'm telling you, over the past 6 weeks, the registration numbers have been going crazy, the comings and the goings. So that is why there is such a fluctuation in those numbers. They're never going to be stable. They stabilize after October 1 and moving on in the school year.
Thank you, and I understand that. I'm just, again, I just look at the landscape of the town. I drive around the town and I see new construction everywhere. Where one house was is now 7. Where one building was is now 10 houses. And I say to myself, how did, I understand we use data to come up with a projection, but I'm a little confused how the projection was 400 or 360 lighter than would have just graduated the same week. I would think that the projection would have been at least the same amount, if not higher or greater than that number. But, I understand that kids come and go and disenroll and, or they don't.
Yeah, and Providence started after Labor Day, which slowed down the withdrawal. Yep. I know it's a moving target. I'm just, I was just curious as to how we had a specific number in June. Then they go. Correct. Okay. I just think that, in the coming years, I think we should be more cognizant to the fact that there's a lot of new housing being erected in the town, even though we have limited space, and that there's the potential for greater enrollment, and so that we could, I'm hoping this isn't causing overages in the classrooms and overcrowdedness in the classrooms. Yeah, and on your report, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elementary schools that have a few more children in them, but that I spend a lot of time moving kids from one school to another and then trying to assess the busing impact. So I've been on top of that, making sure that the kids are evenly distributed across the district, but sometimes you can't help that depending on a busing impact.
And I understand that you're on top of this 100%. We've had conversations in the past about this. And again, I'm just curious as to how the projection in June was a little light in my eyes. And I should have brought it up sooner, and I just didn't.
And we'll take that into consideration moving forward, that we take an idea on the housing.
Steve, you all set? Okay, you're welcome. Next is the regarding the charter proposal. Mr. De Silva is going to just make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we have our attorney draft the letter of communication expressing our
opposition.
Our refusal, what's the word I'm looking for, Mr. Chairman? Opposition, thank you, to this proposal. And we get to look at it, and then once we all agree that that's the letter we want, we send that to the town council, and a copy of the letter to the town council to our state delegation.
Motion by Mr. De Silva, seconded by Ms. Picard and the entire committee. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it, so voted.
I'd like to just state one thing, that just so people can understand, that they're trying to, it says in here, all collective bargaining agreements affecting employees of the department, including but not limited to the school department, shall have no force or effect until and unless they're first ratified by the majority vote of the town council, which means that all the negotiations that we do here has no meaning until they say it's okay. We are an autonomous body, number one. And number two, that's an insult to us as a body doing what we do on a daily basis to tell us what to negotiate and how to spend our money. So they got to worry about their town, and let us worry about our school department.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just for the record.
Mr. Palmieri. So that letter will...
Excuse me, unless they'd like to spend the 200 hours negotiating the the
Okay.
contract. That would be fine too. I'd have no problem with that. Well,
Okay.
I'm sure they can watch it on camera. How you doing?
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, so voted, unanimous. Okay. That's what I like to see, unanimous.
The
bus tra-
next item is going to be tabled.
Okay. And use of property.
Use of property. The only thing I want to bring your attention to is that Principal Melissa Goho at Birchwood School did put in a request if the Lincoln Lions could do practice cheerleading at Birchwood. While she's there, she would be supervising the kids, but she can get a couple of hours worth of extra work in if she could have the team practice there because her daughter's on that team, so she just asked your permission if she could use the space at the school so that she could catch up on some of her paperwork and the kids could practice there.
Okay, no problem with that?
My opinion on that, as long as it does not interfere with any other town activities or school activities, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
As long as we're not bumping any.
We're not bumping anybody, I don't think.
And then they have their own insurance.
All right,
Correct.
okay.
And I'll
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next item. Bills.
Be it resolved that at the recommendation of the superintendent, the North Providence School Committee consider and vote to approve the list of bills as submitted.
Moved by Ms. Picard, seconded by, who seconded it? Mr. Ronnie? Oh, Ron Iannetta. I thought it was Donald. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, voted. Next item. Minutes.
Make a motion to approve and seal the executive session minutes for August 24th pursuant to applicable provisions of Rhode Island General Law 42-46-4 and 5.
Motion by Ms. Picard.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Silva. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, so voted.
And I make a motion to approve the general session minutes for August 24th as well.
Motion by Ms. Picard, seconded by Mr.
Second.
De Silva. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed, ayes have it, so voted. Next, motion to adjourn.